nobody's found a cure for dementia. There's a terrible statistic that for everyone born today, 1 in 3 will have dementia.
A third of the planet. Sir Jackie, it's an absolute pleasure to be allowed to spend time with you. You've been an inspiration to so many people. I would describe your beginnings as quite humble, quite normal, and yet you went on to become world champion, not just once, not just twice, but 3 times. What do you think it was about your early years that powered you forward?
I'm a dyslexic. I can't read, I can't write, but you know, dyslexics usually have other things going on. And for me, I was so unable to do things at school. I was a disaster at school. Dumbarton Academy threw me out, actually, to a terrible school, which I should never have been in. You've then got to do something decent. I think that's why I worked hard to do things well. So I started clay pigeon shooting at about the age of 14, and occasionally I would go to fancy places to shoot because I was shooting for Britain. It all became, from up here, shooting. You know, once you miss the target, you don't get it back. I can miss a mistake in the car and still catch up. So I think that had more to do with any success that I got as a racing driver.
Wow,
I did that until I was just after I got married. And it's only then that I started motor racing. But I was good at the garage, good at the petrol pumps, getting tips and so forth. It was better than any job I could have had at the time. I was lucky. There was a very rich young man who was in Glasgow, wasn't allowed to race. He's allowed to have good cars. And I was the mechanic. He came to our garage, and a lovely Aston Martin DB4 GT at that time. That was one of the cars, and one of them was damaged, and I repaired it. And he said, "Oh, Jackie, why don't you have a go instead of the boys?"
As they'd say in Scotland, a wee shot.
I finished second in the first event in a little Porsche that he had. And they said, "Oh, well, you better go again." And it just started with Ecuria Kos being my hero, looking at them at Charter Hall and places like that. And then I got picked up by Ecuria Kos. And then I got picked up after that by Ken Tyrrell.
The main reason that I wanted to talk to you, Sir Jackie, now, which is why you set up Race Against Dementia.
I wish I had never needed to.
I wish you'd never had needed to either.
But at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota, I go there every year, and I always took Helen with me. And right at the very beginning, when Helen's illness that I had no awareness about at all was this size, nothing. But the Mayo Clinic's probably the best medical centre in the world. And they said, "Jackie, I'm sorry that Helen's got dementia." And I said, "What's dementia?" And of course, I never found out until it started to affect Helen. And it took quite a long time, quite many years. That, I think, has been the biggest challenge I've ever had in my life. Because I'm seeing somebody up close and personal who's been my wife and given me 2 boys that are wonderful and really looked after me magnificently. And to see Helen now at this stage of her life, about 6 o'clock at night, Helen becomes a different woman. She'll suddenly whack the nurses, she'll curse, and she would hit me too, because I've said something that doesn't fit for her. And she's uncontrollable at that stage. And of course she has no recollections of it afterwards. I can't turn and say, "Why did you do that for me?" or "When did you do it an hour later?" It doesn't exist. I go around a whole lot of homes because I'm fortunate that I've been able to keep Helen at home. and I've got these nurses looking after her. I've just made another part of a home for her in our home,
Yes.
in our buildings. And I go to these homes for people with this illness whose family can't look after them because they've got to go out and work.
Yeah.
And they can't leave her alone, so they have to take her or him to a home. I go to a lot of homes. I come out in tears every single time because they don't know what to do, they don't know where they are. That is dementia. For the people out there who have families of it, it's just, I think, the worst illness of any illness that I know, because for over 70 years there is no cure.
Yes.
Now, how can we in this modern world of technology, in so many different arenas, can the medical profession over 70 years not have found a cure?
No. See, and that's what I love. I love your pursuit of excellence. I love your refusal to accept that it's not possible to make it better. And that's why I've become so passionate about wanting to do whatever I can to help Race Against Dementia. I've got quite a large family. One of my aunties, I stayed with her when I started university, Auntie Jodie. So I went to her home when I was 17 years old. I was in London with her a couple of months ago now, and she's still smiling most of the time, but she's not quite there.
No.
So it's
I know.
early stages of dementia. And like you said, yes, we're both lucky enough that we've got a few pounds. And so I can do certain things to help my auntie that most people can't. But that's not really what any of us wants to do. We don't want to treat the symptoms. We want to cure it.
Yes.
What's your view, or why do you think that dementia can be cured? What's made you so laser focused on we can fix this?
But there's thousands of clever people, if not millions of clever people in the world, and for whatever reason they've either, even within the medical collection of those huge numbers, they haven't focused on dementia yet. They've focused on cancer.
Yes.
Very well. And they make much more money over to charities of cancer than they do putting money in dementia. And dementia is so much damaging to a family. It destroys a family in many cases. So we're trying to raise as much money as we can, but so far we haven't got the medical world. And they're capable, because they've done an awful lot of good things in their life across the globe.
Yes.
We've got now young PhDs, and that's where we get our money from good, nice people like you. We're not putting it into a house, we're putting it into an individual, and we're picking up the best in the best medical centres in the world. Get them, and we've got them in Africa, we've got them in America, we've got them in Australia, we've got them all over the world now for the kindness that we've got from supporters such as yourself. Because I think the establishment has failed for all these years, 70 years. It's a terrible number. So we need young people who are hungry to win.
So the essence of it is not we're going to pay for people's care homes or we're going to pay for nurses. The essence of it is we're going to invest money in medical research to look for cures, to actually treat the problem, not treat the symptoms.
That's correct, because we're picking up the best talent. I put them into the Mayo Clinic. There's 2 of them in there right now.
Yes.
We put them into the best places and the best institutions. And in many cases, they're racing against a medical world that, my goodness, they're looking at cancer, they're looking at all sorts of other illnesses. And yet they don't seem to be looking at what we've got, which is, at this present time, nobody's found a cure for dementia. There's a terrible statistic now that for everyone born today, 1 in 3 will have dementia.
A third of the planet, billions of people.
So we've got to get to those people, but we haven't yet been able to find the people who are working as hard as they are in other illnesses, here's an illness that's turning everybody into messes.
Yes.
It's a terribly coarse illness for a family at any stage, whether they're rich or less rich.
Of course.
It's a terrible illness, so we've got to do it. So I'm grateful for the help that I can get from people like you. It's enormously important, but we've still got to get more and more in, and there will be a cure. Nothing in the world has never been sorted out. Eventually, they went to the moon, for God's sake.
They did. When people tell me something's difficult, is it more or less difficult than getting to the moon? Is my normal response. I love everything you stand for. I love your principles. I love the solution that you're bringing to this. And I just want to remind everybody watching this that Nelson Mandela said, everything is impossible until someone does it.
Quite right.
You, Sir Jackie, are a core part of bringing a solution to dementia, and I'm proud to join you in the race.
Well, I thank you most sincerely for that, and it's not a question of me, it's a question of all the terrible poor people that are out there, not money poor,
Yeah.
but life too poor.
Yeah.
And they're losing their fathers and their mothers, and it's just a terrible illness. It's a very painful illness too for the patient. It's not just an upset for the family, it's the patient. And when I see Helen, when she's in one of those conditions that she goes through almost every day,
Yes. Yes.
it's a terrible feeling.
That says it all. And Sir Jackie, if you'll forgive me, I just want to talk to everybody out there. If you're out there and you're able to give anything, however small, however large a donation, it will make a difference. Because your involvement, your awareness, your discussion, your talking about it, your contribution to it will help Sir Jackie and the whole Race Against Dementia team to get to that pain point, to get to that solution faster. And on behalf of everybody out there that's got either suffering themselves, or they've got relatives, or they've got friends that are suffering from dementia, on all of your behalf, I want to say thank you to Sir Jackie for what he's doing, and I want you to get involved in the Race Against Dementia. Sir Jackie, thank you so much.
Well, thank you very much. I'm grateful.